I work in the Towie Centre, which is in the depths of Llandeilo, a little bit further away from perhaps some of the glamorous parts of the UK. And I came into contact with Val, I think, via email initially, because I think I had these emails coming every so often, advertising Learn with Grandma, and we did get in touch after a while. And of course, there are a number of grant schemes going in West Wales at the moment, which are Rural Development Programme funded. And Val was very quick, I think, to cotton on to them, and has come up with some very valid ideas, which I'd like to share very quickly, only for a couple of minutes with you. A little bit about our Towie Centre. We have a number of schemes running there, Heritage Lottery funded schemes. One is the apprenticeship scheme, where we actually train up apprentices, 15 of them every year, for the next 2 or 3 years, in some of the more traditional skills that we've got, things like masonry, lime plastering, hedge laying and so on. We also have a learning centre there, which basically, again, looks at some of the new skills of putting material out there on the internet and hopefully then being able to show some of the skills that we've had in the past. Again, things like thatching, carpentry, the different skills which seem to be dying out a little bit these days. Now, the link with intergenerational learning there is the fact that we are perhaps reversing the roles that you saw earlier in the day, where you had the sort of youngsters showing the older people what to do, and now it's the older people showing the younger people some of the skills of the past. And we think that's a very important way forward, and it's a very important way as well to perhaps look at this intergenerational link. Now, Val very cleverly, obviously, when she knew there was a little bit of grant money around, we had a visit, we've looked at different ideas, and the heritage project that I work with looks at showing off and perhaps promoting the heritage in this part of West Wales. And of course, Val lives right in the heart of this part of West Wales. The idea that Val's come up with is a very valid one. I think it's one that would certainly go much further afield than just our part of West Wales, and that is to use the simple video skills that we saw a little bit earlier and to show the skills of the past being passed on to the youngsters of the future. Now, we can provide some of those skills, we can provide some of the youngsters, and of course, once we put that together with some of the video elements that we could get hold of, Val then came up with the idea and jumped, as it were, another frame forward with the idea of putting these on YouTube. And of course on Facebook and possibly Twitter and all the other sort of social media, which I think we ignore at our peril these days. It's a marvellous idea. It looks really as though it's the sort of thing I think that can pass on those skills, and as I say, in a very different way to perhaps how we think that skills go these days. Is it true that it's only the youngsters who've got ideas they can pass on? Of course it's not. And I think in lots of parts of Wales as well, there is that distinct possibility that some of these very valuable skills could, as it were, be lost in the future if we don't get hold of them now. There's a massive audience out there, as was said. The World Wide Web reaches everybody's homes these days, and I'm sure, how can I say it? I think I've got to be quite careful to say that Val will definitely get a grant, because the forms are only just been produced now in the last couple of weeks. But it sounds such a really good idea that our heritage will be maintained, and of course the skills of the past could well be passed forward and used by the youngsters in the future. I think it looks at all those sort of intergenerational skills, it looks at respect, it looks at understanding, there's teaching and learning involved, and I think those transferable skills perhaps will be things that I think in the future we can cherish. So it's a great idea, I hope it's going to be successful, and I'm sure it's something that perhaps could be replicated in lots of different areas as well. Thanks very much.